Good evening. Today's webinar is on food packaging and labeling regulations. So the latest version of the regulations is dated 22nd January 2019. So we will look at what are the rules and regulations for the packaging of foods, what type of packaging material must be used, and what the label should contain. So if you look at a label, what is the purpose of food labeling? Actually, it is a means of communicating to the consumer information about the product so that the consumer, when he or she reads the label, can make an informed decision whether to buy the food product or not. It is also the primary means by which a consumer can differentiate between individual foods and brands and buy the brand of choice before purchasing. However, although the labeling helps the consumer to choose the material, it is a legal requirement to provide certain information on the food labels and in a certain way. So the three primary functions, if you look at a food label, are it gives the primary information about the product, that is the name of the food, including the common name, the list of ingredients, so that the consumer can make a choice, the net quantity, the shelf life, that is the best before date, the country of origin, where it is produced, and by whom it produced. The label also provides more scientific information in the form of the nutritional information. So this will abet the consumer in buying the goods for health, and also the date used before or the best by date tells the consumer the safety of the product. The nutrition information, which provides the energy, the fat, the protein content, carbohydrates, vitamins, and minerals, is very useful and is specific for each product. It also acts as a vehicle for food marketing, promotion, and advertising to the advantage of the food business operator. Viable label vignettes, as you see on the left, which say zero cholesterol or zero trans fat, or words such as natural, organic, will help the consumer choose the food product. The rules and regulations of FSSA come under the packaging and labeling regulation. And under this regulation, you will find that each chapter is defined. The first chapter is the definitions. The second chapter of it is the general requirements for the packaging material. And the next is on the labeling requirements, which include both the general requirements and the requirements of what a packaged food should contain. So in the definitions, you will find definitions for best before. So this tells the consumer, it explains to the consumer, the definition explains that it does not signify the end of the period of this product. It only signifies the date by which the quality of the food is best, and it may be perfectly safe to consume the food after the best before date, because for safety, it is the best by date or the use by date. Date of manufacture is when the food becomes a product, and date of packaging is the date that the food goes into the package. You will find in several instances, you have to write, it is not suitable for infants. So FSSAI has defined an infant, and an infant is a child who is 12 months or below. And lot number, code number, and batch number are given because it helps the regulator in case of any safety concerns to ask the food business operator to recall the whole batch. So these lot numbers or code numbers have got an alphabet. They use both alphabets and numericals to give you the code or the batch number. And it also helps the manufacturer to identify his distribution of the product. And as we go along, you will see the use of these definitions. So now coming to the general requirements of packaging materials, what it clearly says on any label over here, what the labeling requirement, major labeling requirement is that it should not be false or should not provide misleading statements. Coming to the packaging and general requirements for packaging that are there in these regulations are that if containers are used to package the material, they will be deemed unfit for the food inside those material will be deemed unfit for human consumption if the container is rusty, especially the canned materials. If it is an enamel container and the enamel has chipped off or become rusty. If it is a brass or a copper container, if we see the rusting and the formation of the blue copper sulfate, indicates that these containers have not been tinned properly, so it will be considered as unsafe. For containers which are made of aluminium, the aluminium that is used to make these containers must meet the IS specification 20 for cast aluminium and aluminium alloy. When it comes to plastic packaging materials, several standards are available, and if you use polythene, it should follow IS 10146. If you use PVC, it must follow 10151. If you use ethyl acrylic acid, it must use this standard. So all these are the standards made by the Bureau of Indian Standards, and that plastic material or the packaging material used must conform to these standards. And according to this standard, once the tin or plastic containers are used for packaging and the food is used, it should not be reused for packaging of edible oils and fats. The packaging requirement for canned food material has some special requirements that it should be packed and sealed securely. There should be no leakage from the seams of the can. The exterior of the can should be free from major dents, rust, seam distortions. There should be no leaking, and if the can is bulged, it shows that there is an anaerobic microorganism. The product specific requirements for the packaging material are, there are specific requirements enumerated for milk and milk products. There are packaging requirements for edible oils, for fruits and vegetable products, and canned meat products. So you will have to read the regulation to see what are these special packaging requirements. Now, if you come at special packaging requirements for drinking water, it clearly says the bottles in which packaged or drinking water are used must be clean, hygienic, colorless, transparent, and tamper-proof bottles. That means the seals should be there, and they should be made of polyethylene conforming to 10146 or PVC conforming to 10151, or PET bottles, which are the most commonly used bottles. And here also it says, if polycarbonate, food grade polycarbonate or sterile glass bottles are used, they should be used for preventing all these materials that are used for packaging drinking water, and packaged drinking water should prevent the possible adulteration or contamination of water. So they should be tamper proof. That is what this regulation means. Whatever the material is used for packaging drinking water, it must be tamper proof. And all these packaging material which are used for packaging foods, whether it is fried food such as chips or oil or water, all of them have to pass. There is a certain limit set for the overall migration, that is the migration and color migration limits. These are tests for packaging materials. So those of you who are doing packaging testing will know about these migration studies. Then we come to the labeling requirements. The labeling requirements are divided into two, which are the general requirements and the labeling of prepackaged food. So we will look at each one of these requirements individually. So the first requirement is the language in which the name of the food or the package is there. It is very clearly said that the label should be in English or in Hindi in the Devanagari script. But it does not prevent the food business operator from using any other language along with either English or Hindi, as you have seen. So what you see on the right is a packaged food which neither has English nor has Hindi, and so therefore it is non-compliant to our regulation. You have this packaged food here where you see it complies with our regulation, although there is another language, that is Tamil, which is used, but as per our regulation, you have the English written that it is garam masala. Then in all the labeling, in the general labeling requirements, it says there should be truth in the labeling. So the label should not be false, it should not be misleading, and it should not be erroneous, as the consumer should not be misled by what you have seen. So what you see in these packaged food products on the right hand side is the first one. So this yogurt contains strawberry, and therefore the strawberry pictorial representative of strawberry is permitted. However, if it contained only the flavored strawberry flavor, the use of this picture is misleading. So there must be truth in labeling. So this yogurt contains strawberry. So whereas you see this baby cereal with milk, it clearly says it has strawberry and yogurt flavor, but it does not have the picture of strawberry. However, it has the picture of milk because it is for baby cereal to be used with milk. And then you look at these labels. We need the truth in labeling, and the consumer should not be taken away with these type of labels which say made with real honey, made with real fruit when no fruit is added, where it should be sugar-free. There should be no sucrose, glucose, or fructose or galactose. When it says fat-free, it should be as per the advertising and claims requirement. If it says no high fructose syrup, it should not contain things. So therefore, the consumer should not have an erroneous impression by looking at the label. Prepackaged food, again, as I said, should not be misleading. These labels such as responsibly sourced, tested for 500 plus impurities. If you look at the number of impurities in our regulations itself, they are not more than 500. We have 213 pesticides, 42 antibiotic residues, about 9 heavy metals, so we do not come to 500. So these are all marketing gimmicks, but they do mislead the consumer. Atta, here it says 0% maida. It is impossible for atta not to contain maida, because when you remove the bran of atta in atta, it becomes maida. So this is misleading to the consumer. Now, sugar-free products, when it says sugar-free, it should have less than 0.5 grams of sugar. And you will see in a later definition, the regulations define what sugar should be. Here, this says sugar, but maida and wheat contain carbohydrates. And then you have misleading in these oils which say no cholesterol. We have discussed this earlier. It is a plant-based product. This is rice bran oil. So it touts the no cholesterol status. And there's no benefit compared to other vegetable oils such as sunflower, safflower, safflower, because all these oils, being plant-based products, do not contain any cholesterol. So now, in the 2019 regulations, when the word no cholesterol is used, you will find that we have a regulation of when these words can be used. And I will discuss that tomorrow when I'm talking about advertisement and claims. Now, it is a misleading way to say no cholesterol or low in cholesterol when these oils have a high level of fat and saturated fat. And saturated fat is the most powerful contributor to elevated blood cholesterol rather than cholesterol itself. So it is misleading to the common man. So the product name, which is put onto the label of a prepackaged food, must, if it shows a fruit, then it must tell you how much of fruit is there. So products which do not contain the specific amount of fruit is deceiving to the customer to give a false impression that the product contains real fruit because the picture is there. Even the names as such, if you say fruitozyme, this is misleading because it appears that the enzymes from fruits are used, and here lactozyme when it says the enzymes from lacto are there. Whenever a flavor is added, it should contain not a picture of the food, but a label saying added name of the fruit flavor, whether it is strawberry flavor or mixed fruit, etc. The label in prepackaged food must be applied such that it does not come off, however the distribution or the transport or storage is. The contents on the label have to be legible and they should be very clearly readable, and it should not smudge or smear or be indelible if there is water spilt onto it or if even oil spills. If the container is covered by a wrapper, the wrapper is supposed to contain the necessary information on the label, and it should be legible through the outer wrapper and not obscured by it. So whatever label information has to be put onto a prepackaged food must be clear and must be legible. So the packaged or pre-packed food in the definition given means food which is placed in a package of any nature in such a manner that the contents cannot be changed without tampering it, and it is ready for sale to the consumer. So essentially, packaging is important and it prevents tampering of the food. According to the law, the following information is required to be provided on the label of the packaged foods. One is the name of the food, list of ingredients, nutritional information, declaration regarding the veg or non-vegetarian status, declaration regarding food additives, name and complete address of the manufacturer, the net quantity, the lot code or batch identification number, date of manufacture or packing, best before or use by date, if it is an imported food, country of origin, and if there are if necessary and it's a reconstituted food, then instructions for use are required. In addition, every packaged food must display the FSSAI logo and the FSSAI license and registration number. And now we have a regulation for fortified foods, and if the food is fortified as per FSSAI regulation, it can carry this fortified mark so that people can identify the food by this mark. So let us look at each one of these labeling requirements. Very clearly, the law says it should include the name of the food. So it should include the trade name or the description of the food. And generally, if we say it includes one of the food products in our food product standard. So here, this is dahi. So when such a packet comes to the food lab for analysis, it is easily identifiable as dahi. This packet shows you biscuits. So the product here is biscuits. Here is a traditional food. So it says rasgulla. So the name of the food should be there on the label. The next is the list of ingredients. So in any packaged food, the ingredients, the list of ingredients must have a title such as ingredients, which is shown here. Then all the ingredients in that packaged food must be written in descending order of their composition by weight. And each of the ingredients will have a specific name as you see here. So pineapple fruit powder, citrus lemon fruit powder, elderberry powder, maltodextrin, etc. It must be written in descending order. So now if you look at the label on the left hand side, you see that this contravenes the law because the ingredients in this are not in descending order. We have inulin, which is 10% here, and maltodextrin, which is 81% here. As per the law, they should be written in descending order. Now, this label was rectified by the manufacturer, and now you see you have maltodextrin followed by inulin, pineapple fruit 3%, 2%, and you see the latter half of it has 0.01%. So the list must be in descending order of the composition of the ingredients. So in the list of ingredients, the food additives that have been used in the preparation of the food have to be listed along with either is their name or along with their INS, the International Numerical Identification System for the additive that is used. So here we have noodles packet. So you see here it says it contains the antioxidants. So the numbers are given. So the E number is in EU and it is the same as the INS number. So here these are artificial substances, and if you see this E300 is a natural substance. So all food additives used in the making or preparing of the food that is in the package must be listed. Now, when the food additive or the ingredient, when the ingredient used is a mixture of the class titles have been used. If a vegetable oil is used, it can be given as edible vegetable oil. You need not name the oil. If it is a vegetable fat, you write edible vegetable fat. If starch, or any form of chemically modified starch is used, you can just put starch. If any fish or constituting any part of the fish which is used as an ingredient, it can be listed as fish. The class titles are permitted. So if you look in this list of ingredients here, you see that the edible vegetable oil, that is the class title, has been given. We also have the class titles. You see, if you are using caseinex, you put it as casein. If you are using any gum, you use it edible gum, you put gum. If you are using all milk or milk products derived solely from milk, you need not separate out each one. You can write it as milk products, as seen in this label on the right hand side. You see, you as a part of the ingredients, we have got milk solids written. And in single ingredient packages such as wheat, rice, or atta or maida, they are exempt from this list of ingredients. They need not put the list of ingredients because it is a single ingredient and the name itself will suggest it. So, in the regulation, if the ingredient itself, which is used, is a product of two or more ingredients, then the name of the ingredient with the list of the ingredients used to make that compound have to be listed. And the ingredient list must be in descending order as you see in this list. So lower down here, you see that Rice Krispies are used. So the ingredients used to make Rice Krispies are rice flour, soya protein, sugar, malt, and salt in descending order. So if a compound ingredient is added, within parentheses, you put the ingredients used to make that compound. So if the compound ingredient, however, constitutes less than 5% of the food, the list of these is not required. So it all depends on what is the percentage of the ingredients that you have used. When water is added to the thing, it will be declared in the list of ingredients, except in cases where the water forms a part of the ingredient. You must declare it unless, for example, you have vegetables in brine, or you have olives in brine, or you put cherries in a sugar syrup or broth. There, added water is not required. However, you must declare added water if you have added water to make a product. The regulation says if the water that you have used during the process, you use a process of evaporation and you get a dehydrated or a condensed food, and you sell it as a dehydrated or a condensed food, but to consume it, you must reconstitute it with the addition of water. In such reconstituted feed, you must declare in descending order of weight or volume, as the case may be, a statement that the ingredients of the product, when prepared in accordance with the direction on the label. So you give the list of ingredients after reconstitution with water. You do not put list of ingredients, you put the label as the ingredient list after reconstitution with water. If you are adding added color or flavor, which is a food additive, although you list the additives in the list of ingredients, the regulation says that you need to add this label on the packaged food. If you're using only a natural color, you write contains permitted natural color. If you're adding only a synthetic color, you write contains permitted synthetic color. If you're using both, you need to put both. The same goes with the added flavor. You have to say it contains added flavor, and it is up to you to put the name. If you're adding both flavors and color, you need to add contains permitted natural colors and flavors, or synthetic food colors and added flavors, or permitted natural and synthetic food colors with added flavors. So remember, if you find, as food analysts, if you find a synthetic color or a natural color added to it, you need to see whether this label declaration, it must be written in the uppercase, that is in capital letters, as shown over here. So you see these two labels, it says contains added flavors, artificial flavoring substances, vanilla, milk, masala, and butter. So this is, if you put this label, you're complying with the regulation. Regarding the veg and non-veg symbol, this is very unique to India. No other country expects you to put this label. This is for honoring the preferences of the consumer. So you have to put a non-veg symbol if you are using any non-vegetarian part of the thing. And a definition is given in FSSAI for what is non-vegetarian and what is veg. The exemptions from putting the green dot or the red dot are mineral water and packaged drinking water, carbonated drinks, liquid milk, milk powder, and alcoholic drinks. Even if the product contains gelatin, which is from an animal source, then the red label must be put. The regulations or the rules specify what is known as the principal display panel. So the red vegetarian or non-vegetarian symbol is expected to be on the principal display panel, that is the main panel, which will contain the name of the food and any the trade name, etc. So that is on the main panel, and you will see on the side panel you have the nutritional information. So this area of the principal display panel also has been defined for different sized boxes or packaging material. So if it says if it is a rectangular container or a squarish container, it should be the principal display panel should be 40% of the height and width of the panel. If it is a cylindrical package or a nearly cylindrical package, the principal display panel should be 20% of the product of the height and the average circumference of the such container. That means it is the volume, which is pi r squared. It is not the volume, it is the circumference, which is the pi into d, the diameter. If you are using any other shape other than a rectangular or a cylindrical shape, the principal display panel should about be 20% of the total surface area. For the shapes of packages which have a volume of 5 milliliters or less, the principal display panel may be in the form of a small card or a tape which is affixed to the package, and you will see that in a number of containers, and this affixed tape or card must contain all the information. For the height of the numeral declaration, that means the way the size of the numerals that you use also is very well defined. So if you see If it is up to 50 grams per milliliter, it should be a normal case of 1 millimeter. If it is a big product, it's above 1 kilogram or a liter, or it should be the size of 6 millimeters. Okay, it is not the font size that you see in the computer. It is 6 millimeters. Now we come to the nutritional information. For the nutritional information, all the nutritional information should be given very clearly on the food labels in terms of per 100 gram of the material, or per 100 ml, or per serving. When it is given as per serving, within parentheses, you must have what the serving size is in grams. So here the serving is 1 biscuit, and 1 biscuit is equal to 14.8. So this is per 100 grams. The energy value in India must be given in kilocalories, but can also be given in kilojoules. The nutritional information that is mandatory is the protein content in grams, the carbohydrate content in grams. If it contains sugar, the sugar content must be specified, and the fat content must be specified in grams. If the package is making a claim for any other nutrient other than what is listed here, and which has a nutrition or a health claim, then the value should be there. For example, if I say high in calcium, the value of calcium should be there on the nutritional information panel or the nutrition facts panel. So we will see when you have to put the saturated fat, the unsaturated fat, cholesterol, and information on vitamins and minerals. So whenever information on vitamins and minerals are provided, it must be in metric units. So here is a nutritional information panel of a product. So you see the calories is given in kilocalories, fat will be in grams, the protein will be in grams, carbohydrate in grams. If it contains sugar, it's going to be in grams. If it contains vitamins, it's going to be in the metric units. Even minerals, it is in metric units. If any claims are made for the fortification, it is there. For example, if you see in this canned food, it says good soda vitamin C. So in the nutritional fact panel, the vitamin C content must be there. If you make any claims on cholesterol, then the cholesterol content must be there. And as per the regulation, when you add any of the nutrients, the fortification should not exceed one of the recommended daily allowance. So if it is given per serving, it must, as I said, in parentheses, you must have it in grams. So foods in which hydrogenated vegetable fats or bakery shortenings are used, they must declare hydrogenated vegetable fats or bakery shortening used contains trans fat, and they have to put the amount of trans fat. A health claim for trans fat free can be made when it is less than 0.2 grams per serving of the food. So every package of edible oil, interestrified fat, hydrogenated fat, partially hydrogenated oils, margarine, fat spreads, and packages of foods in which fats, oils, and fat emulsions are an ingredient, like say potato chips or any cake, should be there. They have to declare the trans fat content in grams. Trans fat and the saturated fat content on the label. So, which are the commodities which are exempt from nutritional information? Commonly, The raw agricultural products, wheat, rice, cereals, spices, spice mixes, table salt, sugar and jaggery. Non-nutritive products such as tea, coffee powder, coffee chicory, mixture, packaged drinking water, mineral water, alcoholic beverages, and fruits and vegetables. Processed and pre-packaged assorted vegetables, fruits that comprise of a single ingredient are exempt. All pickles and papads are exempt from nutritional information. And food which is served in hospitals, hotels, and by food service is there. But however, a new regulation is in the pipeline where it is expected that in the restaurants and in the where vendors are selling food, they have to and hotels, they have to indicate the nutritional information of the food product per serving. It hasn't been gazetted, so I haven't put it here. It is there for public opinion, and it is in the process of being a regulation being prepared. A food which is shipped in bulk and which is not going to be sold to the consumer as the bulk food also is exempt from the nutritional information. You see, we have this lot number and batch number. This is what is the definition as I indicated. It is either in numerical or in alphabets or in combination of two shown over here. It should be preceded by the word lot, lot number, batch, code number or code. So it is used as an identification mark to trace the manufacturer, for the manufacturer to be traced, and it helps in food recall. However, this lot, code and batch identification is not required for packages containing bread and milk. The name and the address of the manufacturer, packer or seller must be there on the label. So the reason for having this regulation is such that if there is any problem, the consumer can contact the manufacturer or the packer and inform them about the labeling non-compliances. So in the case of an imported food, then instead of the manufacturer, the name and address of the importer must be stated on the label. Foods that are manufactured outside India are expected to have the country of origin on it, plus the name and complete address of the importer, and if it is imported into the country, and if it is a bulk imported and it is repacked or rebottled, then the repacking or the address of the premises where this repacking or rebottling took place in India must be given. The date marks, there are two different types of date marks which are used, which is used by or used before, found on perishable foods such as milk, red meat, fish. The foods are not safe to be eaten after this date. These foods must be eaten before the time for health or safety reasons. They should not be eaten after the use by date and cannot be sold legally after this date, that is the use by or use before. Best before is a quality marking. So this is found in a wide range of products. What this indicates is when you eat it best before, the quality is the best. The safety is not a concern or not a question. And according to the instructions, you can use it. So you can still eat foods for a while after the best before date, but they may have lost some of the quality. So when the shelf life or the best before is given, if the shelf life is less than 3 months, it is expected that they should write best before. They have to give the date, month and year. If they're giving packages, they have to give best before so many days from packaging. And if it is for few days, they have to say it is best before so many days from manufacture. This is when the shelf life is less than 3 months. This includes soya milk, flavored milk, bel puri, pizza, etc. When the shelf life is greater than 3 months, they need to give only the month and the year of for best before of packing and manufacture. So the definition in our regulation for date of manufacture, as I said, becomes the date when the food becomes a product, and date of packaging is when it goes into the container. On packages of aspartame, instead of best before, they have to use the best by date or recommended last date of consumption. In infant foods also and infant substitutes, they have to use only the use by date or recommended last date and not the best before, not the best before date. So exemption from date marks among the products, wine and liquors and alcoholic beverages containing 10% or more by volume of alcohol are exempt from having these date marks. Net quantity, this comes under the Metrology Act, but as per FSSAI, the net quantity must be declared. If the food is there in a liquid, in addition to the net quantity, a food packed in liquid medium should carry a declaration of the drained weight of the food. So if there are a large number of small packages, say 1,000 small toffees in a big one, only the paper weight can account for only 8% of the wax paper. So carbonated water in returnable glass is exempt from date of manufacture and best before date, exempt from nutritional information, net weight, and manufacturer's name and address. There is very stringent labeling for infant food special. One is in caps, mother's milk is best for baby, should be used only on the advice of health worker. It is not the sole source of nourishment. You cannot put the picture of a baby or anything. You have to indicate the manufacturing process. You have to give a warning. You have to give the composition. You have to say store in a cool, dry place. You have to give the feeding chart. You have to give the instructions for using the scoop. You have to give protein efficiency ratio. You cannot use the picture of a baby or mother, and you cannot use any words which relate to humanized, maternalized health food. So this is very stringent. You cannot exaggerate on any label such as super, extra, micro, double, ultra refined, anti-cholesterol, cholesterol fighter, any of that in the edible oil. But you have to put in the blended oils, you have to say it contains TFA not more than so much, and all blended oils must have the ADMARC logo, and they cannot be sold loose. Okay, so we cannot use symbols such as this, happy heart, indicating that it is heart friendly. You cannot use terms such as diabetes care, helps control diabetes. These are not permitted. And then you must read as food analysts these specific requirements for individual ingredients, such as for packaged drinking water, you must have this, flush the bottle after use, drinking water. If you're selling cinnamon, it should have cinnamon and dalchini. If you're selling cassia, it should that. If you're selling a high energy drink, it should say contains. If it is supari, you must put chewing of supari is injurious, chewing of pan is injurious, frozen desserts. If it contains MSG, you have to write not recommended for infants below 12 months. If you're having color in the oil, you must put it. If you're putting refined oil, you must write refined groundnut oil, refined soybean oil, etc. If you're marketing blends of palm oil and groundnut oil, you must put the percentage of each. If you are blending imported rapeseed oil, you have to put imported rapeseed oil. If it is irradiated, you have to put this mark, and you have to put the license number plus the process by which it was irradiated. If it is milk powder, you must say how much of milk it will form when it is reconstituted. And if you see if it is wheat flour treated with improver, bleaching agents, you should say it is to be used only by bakeries. If the chilies are an admixture, some of them are coated with edible oil, you have to put that. If it contains artificial sweetener, you have to put that it is for calorie conscious. If the fruit or vegetable is coated with wax, you have to write coated with the name of the wax. If you are selling cheese, you have to write remove the outer packing before consumption. So all these, and some of the oils are says not to be sold. So all these are product specific, gluten free. If you are selling stanols, you have to write the whole thing. If you add trehalose, which is permitted, you have to write contains trehalose, contains isomaltulose. If you are adding dextrin, you can write contains dietary fiber. Why I have put it as it is from the thing? Because the size and the wording have to be exactly how it is given. If it is in caps, it is in all caps. If it is in the lower case, it must be in the lower case. So this completes the labeling regulations, and tomorrow I will continue and I will tell you about the advertisement claims regulations and the regulations for the labeling of nutraceutical and proprietary